So welcome to you all to this virtual exchange on sharing an emergency wash project. We are using today this format of virtual meeting to replace our traditional face-to-face regional technical meeting. And we have the possibility with this option to reach more people within the different national societies of the region. The topic today will be on the emergency wash project supported by the Japanese Red Cross Society. Since 2012, the Japanese Red Cross Society has contributed nearly 2 million CHF in funding to strengthen emergency wash capacity of Asia Pacific National Society. We will start the meeting with an overview of the program from 2015 by Wendy Neoh, the Emergency Wash Officer from Asia Pacific Regional Office, IFRC, and then we will have presentation from 3 different national societies. Mr. Abdul Razak, Wash Officer from the Bangladesh Red Crescent Society, Mr. Kom Sokran, Project Officer for the Cambodian Red Cross, and Dr. Bunma Sayasuk, Director of Health Promotion Department for Lao Red Cross. And finally, we will have also a presentation for the Pacific from Devendra Vidyamurthy, Health Manager from IFRC Suva Country Cluster Support Team, on behalf of Brian Stewart, the WASH Advisor for Pacific, being busy with the current tropical cyclone Nyasa affecting Fiji now. After the presentation, we will have the remaining time to go through some reflection on question and answers to the participants. Without further delay, I will give the floor to Wendy Neoh. Over to you, Wendy.
Thanks, Ludovic. Hi, colleagues. My name is Wendy Neoh. I am the Emergency Wash Officer based at the IFRC Asia Pacific Regional Office in Kuala Lumpur. I've been managing the Emergency Wash project since I joined the health unit back in 2016. That is also the year where, for the first time ever, the regional office had an Emergency Wash Officer, who is primarily tasked with advancing the emergency wash portfolio in the Asia Pacific region, as well as taking on other regional responsibilities. The Japanese Red Cross Society, or JRCS, has been a long-time supporter of emergency wash initiatives in the region. Since 2012, up to 29 national societies have benefited from capacity development, knowledge sharing, wash assets, and country-level technical support. Now let's have a closer look at some of the main targeted countries over the past few years. We can see that since 2015 to date, Bangladesh, Cambodia, Laos, and the Pacific have consistently received funding allocation and support. On average, since 2016, JRCS has been channeling a little over 200,000 Swiss francs on an annual basis for emergency wash. The regional office has also been receiving funding that enable events and efforts at the regional level. The program aims for Asia Pacific national societies to maintain, improve, and scale up wash capacities to meet acute and chronic needs. So we are talking about fulfilling needs not only during disasters, but also efforts to better prepare national societies during peace times. The support is provided or delivered through 3 approaches. Equipping for emergencies, where capacity building initiatives are carried out to provide technical knowledge and know-how on wash approaches and concepts. Empowering communities, where key information is cascaded down to community members in disaster-prone areas, and ensuring effective strategies, where we work closely with national societies for effective and efficient response through improvements in national society systems and mechanisms. Now, before we move any further, let's look at who are the key actors and how we are all working together under this project. The countries that are supported in this Trans project are Bangladesh, Cambodia, Laos, and the Pacific, more specifically Palau and Samoa. In Bangladesh, Cambodia, and Laos, communication is mainly directly with the national society focal points, and where relevant and needed, we will keep the IFRC counterpart in communication as well. Our role at the regional office is threefold. One, we are accountable, of course, to the targeted national society, where we work closely with the WASH focal points to plan, implement, monitor, and report the project activities. In pre-COVID times, technical support was mainly done through in-country missions, but during the pandemic times, we have been coping well with remote support through more constant online discussions. Secondly, we lead regional level initiatives such as aligning national societies with IFRC standardized guidelines, including development of IEC materials and guidelines. One of our current efforts is actually working on a NAMPAC guide, which we hope can better support national societies with maintenance and troubleshooting of washed assets. Last but not least, we are accountable to JRCS as the donor. In the initial stages, we negotiate with JRCS on project coverage, budget, and scope of activities. We ensure that project activities and expenditures are on track and as per plan, coupled with timely reporting to the donor. Let's take a quick look at some of the key deliverables of the targeted countries for this round support, which has started in April this year until March next year. This is just to give you an overview of the nature of activities. The details will be provided by my fellow colleagues after this. In general, we can see that there is a combination of hardware and software activities. Hardware being support in wash assets, where usually the regional office will assist national societies to purchase key wash equipment and materials. Software activities include trainings for national society staff and volunteers, especially at the branch level, and hygiene outreach activities targeting community members. The project also allocates some funding for national societies to utilize for small-scale emergency response. We place great emphasis on learning and capturing lessons. 2 internal reviews have been carried out in 2017 and more recently in 2020, looking at how the implemented activities have contributed towards strengthening emergency wash capacities. Both these reviews have provided some great insights on how to better work and evolve with national societies. The link for these reviews will be provided in a follow-up message after this. Following these 2 reviews, we wanted to capture all the rich learnings and experiences that have happened over the past few years in a more digestible manner. Thus, we came up with the idea of commissioning a case study, which is a document that celebrates the achievements of national societies, which can then be shared with other national societies in the region and with potential partners who might be thinking about getting involved in emergency wash capacity development in the region. The case study takes a closer look at experiences in Bangladesh, Cambodia, Laos, and the Pacific sub-region. Now, I'll be mentioning a couple of figures as we go through the next 2 slides. Note that these figures are the combination of emergency wash activities since 2016 up to November 2020. Let's look at what has been accomplished under the first objective, which is equipping for emergencies. A total of 28 MAMPACs have been procured and handed over to 6 national societies, 8 each in Bangladesh and Laos, 6 in Cambodia, 1 in PNG, 2 in Samoa, and 3 in Fiji. The project also provides a small budget for national societies to maintain these assets, including procurement of local spare parts and small repair works done locally. In addition to MAMPACs, we also have procured other key wash items for the national societies, such as water testing items. As a result of this support, national societies are now better able to expand the scope of emergency wash services, going beyond what they traditionally have done in the past. Branches now can respond as these assets are pre-positioned at the branch level rather than at the headquarter level. 54 trainings have been organized, reaching more than 1,200 participants, mainly consisting of staff and volunteers from 19 national societies, as well as representatives of government agencies and other organizations. A big part of these trainings is working with national societies to develop and strengthen their training modules by updating and aligning them with standardized guidelines. We place a lot of emphasis in making sure that there is progression of knowledge and know-how. So, for example, as a participant progresses from a unit level to a national level training, he or she will be exposed to new topics and gets to experience new methodologies and try out new tools. So we try to make it as interesting as possible to the participants. As a result of this support, staff and volunteers at the branch level have an opportunity to be trained in emergency wash and to increase their level of knowledge and know-how in this topic. We also consciously moved away from organizing trainings at headquarter level, which are usually located in capital cities that may not be feasible to staff and volunteers or may not be accessible to them at the district or provincial level. We will continue to adopt this approach, which is to bring trainings as local as possible. The project also allocates a small budget for national societies to be used in deploying trained human resources and wash assets to affected areas. A little backstory to this, the idea of allocating this small budget came from the internal review in 2017, where some national societies expressed delays in deploying people and assets to the affected areas because a lack of immediate funding. So we took this idea from the Nepal Red Cross Society, where at that time they had the same idea of having this small amount of resource available specifically for this purpose. Therefore, in subsequent years of support, we included a budget line for national societies to use for this purpose, which has proved time and time again its usefulness and value add to the national society. More than 109,000 people has been reached with emergency wash services as a result of deployment of volunteers and wash assets, made possible through this small fund allocation. The capacity to respond in a timely manner, together with the deployment of wash assets and trained human resources, have contributed to elevating the role of national societies, and now they are being viewed as a key player in emergency wash. This has reinforced the role of national societies as auxiliaries to the respective governments. A component under empowering communities is hygiene outreach. This is only applicable to Cambodian Red Cross, where branch staff and volunteers visit the targeted villages to talk about key health and hygiene issues. You may be thinking that this does not really fit squarely under the scope of emergency wash, but it is important to include some preparedness activities to raise community awareness and to get them involved for more effective response action. More than 30,000 people has attended at least one hygiene outreach session in Cambodia. The methods used to communicate these messages are interactive. They utilize as much as possible visual aids such as flip charts, posters, and simple exercises. These outreach activities are a great way to capitalize their own Red Cross volunteers who understands the local areas and understands the local issues. It is also a great way for these volunteers to put what they have learned during trainings into practice. Looking at trainings organized since 2016, the percentage of females make up 34 to 46%. We see an increasing trend of more females coming forward and getting involved in trainings and being deployed. This is something that the project will continue to focus on and advocate. New topics are continuously being introduced and included into the National Society training modules, such as menstrual hygiene management. We try to challenge national societies in a way to broaden their scope and to introduce new information and knowledge in different thematic and cross-cutting areas. Another part of this support is development of key IEC material. They serve dual purpose. So they get distributed during hygiene outreach sessions, for example, and also they get distributed during emergency response, which reinforces the messages being communicated at that time. Besides IEC material, the project also supports national societies in localization, translation, and printing of key IFRC guidance documents, such as the WASH guidelines for hygiene promotion in emergency operations and the menstrual hygiene management guidelines. It is important to keep national societies updated on the latest information and standards. The process of developing national society capacity in emergency wash response and preparedness takes years of effort, commitment, and work. It is not something that can be done within a short span of time. Therefore, this is an important factor to be considered by partners who are contemplating in investing in emergency wash initiatives and should consider this factor thoroughly in order to see and to achieve tangible results. I'm sure you will hear this also from my colleagues after this. that it is paramount to have the right people at the right place for any project to be of any measure of success, especially in the case where a technical sector or a thematic area like WASH. This applies to both positions within the National Society and the IFRC offices. We will continue to balance hardware and software activities with continued focus on sustainability and localization. For example, we will continue to work closely with national societies to find local solutions. Moving forward, we will take digitalization more seriously, where we hope we will be able to allocate more resources to digitalize our emergency WASH modules so that we can expand our reach. That's all from me. Thanks so much for your attention. Over to you, Ludovic.
Thanks, Wendy. That was great to have this overview with a clear explanation of the project objectives, activities, and setup. We will now move to the country details, and we will start with the Bangladesh. Mr. Abdul Razak, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Ludovic. Hope everyone is well. First, I introduce myself. My name is Abdul Razak, Post Officer, Bangladesh Red Crescent Society. My responsibility is JRC supported project emergency WASH in Bangladesh under the Disaster Response Department. Now, presentation, virtual exchange and sharing Bangladesh, subject of discussion, project update, key impact and lesson learned. Cover photo, this cover photo recently flood 2020. JRC supported emergency WASH project planned major activity update April to November 2020, general overview. First on activity deployment support of small scale emergency. This is the completed. This activity has been completed, which will be discussed in the next slide. Second on 3 emergency WASH training, 2 unit level and 1 national level. 2 unit level the completed and another on national level training plan next January 2021. Third one, development and printing of IC materials. This is the ongoing. Actually, this is an IFRC hygiene promotion in emergency and ministerial hygiene management guideline that has been developed to translate from English to Bangladeshi language. Just convert. Last one, repair and maintenance. Actually, Manpack water purification kit is widely used during flood, so some parts of the kits are lost. Their repair, maintenance, and proper storage in every year in preparation for the next flood. This is the ongoing. Planned activity, unit level was training this year. 2 training have been completed. One is September and second is October 2020. Total training participant 48 person, male 28 and female 20. All participant 24 branch unit volunteers. Result of the average pre-test and post-test of the participant showed that their perception of was 39% in the initial stage, and their perception increased to more than 90% after receiving the training. That they have a good idea about WASH. The unit level training subject covered are below practical session pictures. Right side picture, practical session community is being informed about the use rules before distributing water purification tablet. And left side picture, practical session, mass water treatment, jar test and bucket test. The jar test means jar test to find out the amount of alarm required for mass water treatment. And bucket test means bucket test to find out how much chlorine is needed to disinfect the water. Next. Unit level training, the above picture, water quality test. Left side picture, so measuring pH. Water will be treated from the place. First, you have a check the pH of the water. pH tolerable levels 6 to 9. And second one, above middle picture, First, check the turbidity of the water from which the water will be collected, and after subsequent water treatment, it is necessary to see the turbidity level less than 5 NTU. Below picture, Manpack water purification kit parts are in 5 separate boxes, which can be set up step by step, particularly that is being shown. First on bottom row photo, showing how to do filtration, backwash and chlorination. Middle, full setup, pump, sand filter, microfilter and membrane filter, this setting. On right side, the bottom row photo, a multi-port valve top of the sand filter has 3 points showing how to control pump, inlet, backwash, and service line. Next. The unit level training, this is another water purification kit. The above pictures videos is another kit on EcoShare mobile water purification kit. This kit produces 1000 liter every on time to treat water with a turbidity level less than 5 NTU. This machine treat raw water with the turbidity level 2000 NTU, this is the capacity. As the below three pictures, participants in the training are learning how to build a ring slab latrine installation in a short time using local materials through a practical demonstration. Unit level training, two training is showing another two pictures showing hygiene promotion session being conducted in the community. The topics of the session are critical time hand washing, a diagram, transmissions route, how to use hygienic latrine. Also, the good bad is being informed through 3-pile sorting and Ludo games. Right side picture, how to show UV light through glow germ, how much dark germs are hidden in the hand, which cannot be seen with the naked eye. What is being thought from this session in this possibility to getting rid of dark germs without washing your hand will in 6 steps for 20 seconds. Small fund allocation. This slide information is good achievement. Recently flood. Safe drinking water were distributed using the manpack operated by trained volunteers. To the achieve, 1,31,000 plus liter of water was distributed among 12,000 plus families, through which 61,000 plus people were reached. This photo showed during the flood, district unit volunteers is distributing safe drinking water through a manpack kit to flood hit families by small boats or rafts in flood hit area. Small fund allocations, through small fund allocation, JRCS only manpack unit were rapidly deployed to provide water to 6 flood affected district. Actually, BDRCS has a total of 8 manpacks kit. Out of 6 are prepositioned in flood prone district. The other 2 kits are the national level and are deployed if there is an urgent need in any branches. And 66 out of 78 volunteers deployed received emergency wash training under the support of the JRCS project. The deployment of those volunteers collectively, as a result of the small fund allocation, collectively benefited 85,000 plus people directly and indirectly from the rapid deployment of volunteers to work during disaster, safe drinking water, emergency latrine, T-wall disinfection, and wash-related awareness activity. These below pictures through small fund allocation after the flood, as seen the picture, T-world submerged in a flood water are being disinfected with chlorine by BDRCS volunteers. This year, 720 T-wall were disinfected. This activity very effective at the community level. Small fund allocation, the Latin installation. Emergency Latin is set up for those who are staying in high place, flood shelter and flood prone area in the short time with the technical support of BDRCS volunteers, NDWRT and UDRT members. This year, emergency Latin installed 180 Latin. According to the slide figure, IC materials are made from JRC supported project are distributed at the community level in the 2020 flood affected area. Right side poster set up by step guidance on water purification tablet are shown how to mix in flood public mass water. Left side photo during flood was related awareness messages are being discussed among the community people. Challenge, this is the major challenge, COVID-19 related organizing training during COVID-19 pandemic times, precautions and adherence. Countrywide lockdown leading to minimal activity carried out in the month of April to June. Resistance expressed by family member of training participant due to concern related to the COVID-19, particularly of female volunteers. Just ensure that female participants in the training for COVID-19 was very challenging. The way it was solved, the female participant told to their family members that the training would be conducted in compliance with all the health protection of COVID-19 and after talking about the overall safety of the training venue, then permission was given by the family to come to their training. Emergency response this challenge due to rising flood water. There is no suitable place to set up manpacks at the affected village area. This solution? What we did then? A flood affected area has no high ground. Manpack kit are set up on large size boats in all those area, and the water is purified and distribution. This is the big challenge. Next. Key impact and lesson learned. Expressions of pool of trained volunteers. Expansion of trained volunteer pool at district level. 2-3 volunteer trained unit, total 68 unit. Progression and retention of those volunteers, advancing them from unit to national level. Increased female participant in trainings. Increased female participant over than 26% in 26 to 2017 versus 42 in 2020-21 round of the support. Should emphasize the point about female participant. It is a great effort that BDRCS makes it mandatory for branches to nominate on male and on female to training. Next is self-sufficient branch. A branch capable in developing volunteer self-sufficient branch. This impact lesson learned. Branches capable in deploying volunteers and WAS assistants in a timely manner. Availability of fund of maintenance and repair of manpack water purification kit. Just quickly emergency response time, because you have local trained volunteer and WAS assistants already at the district level. Emergency WAS activity can be quickly planned and delivered. A full-time national position. Presence of a full-time WAS officer position is a key factor in executing and overseeing project activities. Also a value add to the national society as a whole. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Ludovic.
Thank you very much, Razan, for your great presentation. So as mentioned before, we will keep the question for the end. And now, without further delay, let's go to Cambodia. Mr. Khonsokram, the floor is yours.
Do you hear me?
Oh, yes, we can hear you now. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Ludovic and Wendy, who organized the meeting online. I think this is the first time for me to share what I achieved from our activity for 6-month report that welcome to the rest of other national society who have the present in our meeting online. Next, I just would like to introduce myself. My name is Khammouane from the Cambodian Red Cross, and I just only wrap up of the activity for 6-month report that the emergency WASH project was covered in the 4 provinces. Can you move my slide to the next? Yeah. Yeah, actually, the funding from JRCS is covered in 4 provinces. One in Kampot and one in Kampong Thom, Private here. This is the most target province among 25 that normally have flooded it. Yeah. So during that time, we did quarterly field supervision visit that from the headquarters. There are 223 people reached by the headquarters, and 1,442 people reached by the headquarters branch. So for the quarterly field supervision visit, we divide by 2. One from the headquarters from in Phnom Penh, and another quarterly monitoring from the Red Cross staff, from the Red Cross director, direct from the provincial level to the target group at the district level. Yeah. So, and we also allocate the budget to do like the hygiene promotion. Totally, there are 21,985 community people reached. We dissemination of the key hygiene message, including of COVID-19, because during that time is COVID-19 is outbreak. It's not only in Cambodia, it's as a global. So Cambodia is also affected, but the number of people is not much as the other countries. But anyway, it could be the whole global are affected, and it also the time to fighting the COVID time. So during this figure, we also got it through our food distribution during the flood, because before COVID outbreak, and Cambodia is also a serious flood, and then all the people are involved to survive of the people who are getting flood, and also it COVID fighting as well. So all the Red Cross staff or Red Cross volunteer or Red Cross, you are also mobilized to help and to support and to avoid of the people away of the COVID-19 infection. So that is the amount of the people which are so high during the 6-month report. So it also take time to be translate from the IFRC WASH guideline for hygiene promotion in emergency operation into Khmer, that we are also think that is very important. So we binding and hand out to our Red Cross volunteer to scaling up their capacity to understand more how is the IFRC WASH guideline, and all of the Red Cross volunteer who are got trained, they have to follow and clearly understand the step from step 1 until step 8 in the whole of the guidelines. So they have to follow it before they do the activity related to emergency WASH. Yeah, thank you. Well, could you move to the next? Yeah. Yeah, this is some activity. Activity number 1. You see the picture. This is the our Red Cross volunteer disseminate the message, and they hold it the poster that the fighting COVID, to make the people understand. During they provide hygiene outreach activity. And picture number 2. This is some our villager is take opportunity with our Red Cross staff to provide a tool, that like 3-pile tool, to make them understand from one step to another step of the picture, to make them understand well how to work out on the during emergency. So they have water storage, water disinfection, and how to make environment good. And picture number 3 is a kind of like a hygiene outreach activity. So we teach them how to washing hand properly. So even we do the hygiene outreach, and also we have a small topic how to make the people use hand washing, because so far they never use hand washing properly. So before they touch something, or before they eat, and before they carrying a baby, a small baby or animal, they just only use their hand, eat right away. So when they come to join our hygiene outreach, so we have a small topic with hand washing, and then they can see that how actually their hand is very bad. So this is a part of also activity could be helpful for the community to avoid of COVID-19 infection, because the main mechanism that they go through for COVID into our body is through the hand washing. If we not clean hand washing properly, it could be affected from the COVID also. And the next picture number 4 is our volunteer to orientation about the wash leaflet that we already produced for the last round. So it's still useful for them before we hand out to them to make them understand very clearly. Otherwise, if we just only give them and then they don't understand, they just take it and then throw it away. So before that, we have to make them clear understand from the leaflet, and then could we have food when they got it, and then they can share knowledge to other people in their own community. Yeah, could you move to the next, please? Yeah. This is some our field monitoring, but this is from the brand director and brand staff during Red Cross volunteer meeting. Picture number 1. This is you see the lady with the Red Cross red shirt here. She is the director from the Prevent province to have take her time to join and discuss with our Red Cross volunteer. And picture number 2 is also the brand director as well. Is the part of encourage to be involved in case of the leader at the provincial level. And the picture number 3 is you see that I also took my time to do a quarterly visit the household level, of our target group, to see how they practice at their household level to keep the water source, to keep the water for drinking, but it's still some of them that are still following their ancestor, that small of them are still excusing. Some say that they have no time to boiling water. Some they are so busy with their own business and they not take seriously on boiling water. But even those are our Red Cross staff, our Red Cross volunteer at the district level still going back and then try to persuade her to make it better to boiling water, good drinking, safe drinking water. Yeah. And the picture number 4 is our manager from the headquarters take time to discussing with all the Red Cross volunteer during field trip level. Yeah. Okay. Would you next, please? Yeah. Even though there are key challenge and constraint, as we know that there are some of them are still hard to be change their behavior, because what they did is just keep track from their own ancestors so far. Then like they just take the water from the pond and then they put it in a jar and then they just no cover it on, and then when they feel thirsty, and then they come direct to drink it. So this is like a long time ago, and just the way that. But even though the number of them are not many as we can see, but we try to to make them well understand and how to affect it from the water. And if you not bowl or you not clean or you not treat the water and then you drink right away, it will be you get the problem with the stomach diarrhea or other thing. So now the most of our target area is become much better than people are understanding, and then they try to practice a good environment of their living. And COVID-19 and flood is also a big problem during the 6-month report, because some activity or some step that we have to do or to track on our activity are delayed, and then because of they're not allowed to approve on the mission to go to our target province to complete our activity. But even though we still try sometime to do in next three month step, because now the situation is a little bit better. Even we have to break out the second way with a couple with several days ago, but up to now it's a little bit better. But I do hope that in the next month it all activity will be continued yeah. Could you be to the next, please? This is our key and lesson learned. So national society have the dedicated officer and highly responsible for emergency wash. And even though we try to our best to strengthening our capacity to our Red Cross volunteer at the target province level, I think it's a good way that through the Japan Red Cross funding, it could be helpful to build up our national society staff or Red Cross volunteer to have expand their knowledge to be responding for emergency in case they need it. Yeah. And development of vast knowledge and skill of the staff or volunteer, it could be more empowered and able to contribute and support their own community, because now among the 4 target provinces, it could be helpful to the community level to avoid of the COVID-19 infected and disaster, flood disaster, and they can be possible to be respond. So when it becoming affected, yeah. And presence of the manpacks at the brand level enable brand to destroy when it needed. So always it's possible then our segment pad is good to respond when it needed. It's much better than we save the cost to buy in case of the need of water to support for the people who get flood, because they have their own manpack. It could be produced to the need of the people, and then I think it is the good way that we can have the brand, we can have other target province that from the target brand to other when they need it. Especially, I will have some picture to show you then during live epidemic. So we mobilize our the manpack to support the water more than 5,000 households that get the water from our manpack. So, and it also will increase the understanding of the key hygiene topic, including on COVID-19 prevention it related to hygiene. I think it is very good that people in our target is avoid of the infection of the COVID, because people they are understanding through our activity like hygiene average, and then it could be reduce the number of people infected of the COVID time. I think it's emergency was a project. And hygiene promotion is also good to have the people. Even that is a good opportunity for the Cambodian National Society to have the human resource on time and have the manpack on time. Everything is on time. I think it could be useful to show the problem in case of the flood people affected.
Mr. Sokam, 1 minute left, please.
Yeah. Now I had next slide. Yeah, next slide is the picture. Yeah, this is the picture that I just mentioned during 2018 emergency response at 14,500 liters of the water produced have been distributed. And then this is our team from the Kampong Thom sent it to Stung Trai that Lao collapsed, and then the people live in Stung Trai and affected, and then we send it from the Kampong Thom to support there. And other province in Pre Veng also treat the water and then distribute it to the people flooded in their own provinces. I think that's all from Cambodian Red Cross, and thank you very much for your paying attention with my presentation, and time also limited, and then that's all. Thank you. Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Sokam. Yes, definitely you spend a bit more time than planned, but I think it was good for the participant to have the overview of what Cambodian Red Cross is doing. I will give the floor now to Dr. Bunma Sayasuk from Lao Red Cross. Over to you.
Okay, thank you very much, Ludovic. My name is Bunma Sayasuk from Lao Red Cross. Now I would like to share some information for Emergency Force project year 2020. Okay, next slide. For Lao Red Cross, we have the some activity like such as procurement, 2-man pack unit from KL, and procurement of the local spare part that we plan for Q1 year 2020-21. And we have 2 emergency force training in the brand level that we complete. But for the training on hygiene promotion, emergency and manpack maintenance for the national level, that's a plan in the end of January. And we have the small score emergency that up to now we complete. We have annual supervision by headquarters and Red Cross branch staff. Now we complete the 1, and we plan more 1 in December in this month, in the end of this month. And the last one, we developing of IC material, especially for the translate hygiene promotion guideline from IFRC, translated to Lao language. Next. For the procurement of the equipment, now we purchase for the local source from in Laos, like water pump, water tank, sand, gravel, and track. And also we complete for the APC 102 set from KL. Next slide. Yeah. The second one for the emergency was training. Now we complete 2 trainings for Lao Red Cross staff and counterpart in Sekong province and Salavan province. The number of participants total 54 participants, And that the picture you can see that the document support for the training. And also you can see for this year more the women to participate on the training for the Salawan and Sekong province, especially in Salawan. And also we also have the like a hygiene promotion practice in the training. Next. Yeah, the third one for the emergency was response. After the floods in October in Laos, especially in the central and the south of the Lao PDR, so Lao Record we provide 2 provinces, in Salawan and Sekong, for 7 villages in 2 districts. We can provide more than 400,000 liters and more than 4,700 people reached. And also we provide water container 260. That means 1 per each family. And also for the hygiene promotion activity, we also can reach more than 3,300 people. In the picture, you can show you. I would like to show you, like during the floods, the water that's very high turbidity. So before we treatment, we should like reduce the turbidity by the aluminum sulfate first. How to reduce the turbidity? After that, we use the AP700 machine to treatment, and after that we distribute for the community, for the people in the village, depend on the situation in each area. And also we provide the like container, water container, 20 liter per container, and we distribute for one per each in household. Next please. In this picture, I would like to show you some picture for the hygiene promotion in the community. That one in Salawan, Lao Record staff dissemination for like information from poster, like transmission disease, like hand washing and tree cleanliness and household water treatment. That we use the same key message from the government and in the community. In this activity, we also conduct in the community and the school, in the primary school, like you see, and hygiene promotion in the community for the local community. In that area, we focus on the washing hand. And last one, for the last picture, you can see that the school volunteer, Lao Record volunteer, they try to teach how can build the water washing hand point by themselves, and how to use something. And also we provide some equipment for the cleaning in this committee and the school. Next slide, please. The fourth one, for the monitoring. For the monitoring, we also monitor 2 provinces now. We complete provinces in Khammouane and Champasak province. In the mission that we hand over the new some equipment like a pump, like a water tank or sand or gravity something, And the second one, we also like checklist the manpack AP700 in each province and practice. But there's some problem I will need to share with you. This we have the valve problem that broken. Some we use the long time and now some broken now. And the second, you can see that the frame for the filter that much rust there, many rust. So however, in the brand in Champasak and in Khammouane province, they repair they repair and maintenance. They repair by themselves by the budget, small budget by themselves, right? Next, please. So that there's some activity in low cost. So now we would like to share some challenge. The first emergency was that the new thing for low cost, we lack of the capacity, the human resource or the experience. So after that, so provide the training to record staff and volunteer up to now. So we have some capacity now. The second thing, in the beginning, the government don't no interest. But however, after dam collapse in year 2018 in Atapu, so or in Champasak 2019, Sekong and Udomsai province. So after the first relief from low rate cost, we support or we help them. The local government and partner were interested in the provide and support. For example, now in Khammouane province, the provincial government they support water container, more than 2,000 container for the record to distribute for the victim. The third one, we don't have the emergency fund for was from the government in the so far. So now we try to push and request the emergency was and fund and draft fund from IFRC. And now some local government is participating. And the last one, the fourth one. In the beginning, we don't have the network for the data collection, very poor, right? But however, after training for the local staff or local brand, Red Cross and sub-brand and volunteer, and after that, the data collection and data delivery goes faster. That is some challenge. Next, please. Next, please. Okay, last one for the key impact and some lesson learned. For impact for the low rate cost and volunteer, up to now we increase the knowledge and experience we got from the training. For example, in this year we can extend more 2 provinces in Salawan and Sekong. Up to now we have 9 provinces for emergency force set up. And the second one, low rate cost, we got start and socially updated up to now. The third one, for the beneficiary, very high price of the receiving clean water for the household use. And the second one, no epidemic outbreak. That the good impact. in the mission, especially in a mission in the year 2018 in Atapu dam collapse. And last one, quick development during an emergency. For the some lesson learned, WASH committee at the central and provincial level must be set up. That's very important. If we don't have the committee, that's very difficult to coordinate or to manage or to control anything. The second one, we should have the contingency plan is necessary. And the third one, for the cooperation with the partner is needed to exchange information for action in the same direction. And last one, committee participation is in the activity for good achievement. That is some sharing from Lowry Cross. That's all. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Dr. Gunba, for this great presentation. Let's now move to the Pacific, and apologize because finally Stuart is able to join us today. So Stuart, the floor is you.
Hi, thank you very much, Ludovic. It's a great pleasure to have the opportunity to present on some of the work that's been happening in the Pacific, and it's also great to hear the presentations from the previous speakers and hear about the great work that you're doing in Asia. So in the Pacific, just wanted to give you a bit of context. It's a very different context to Asia. Apart from Papua New Guinea, a lot of the countries here are a small inland area, separated by great distances in sea, which creates a lot of logistics challenges, and the populations are generally quite low. So the countries I'll be covering today are represented on this map of the Pacific. So you can see the context from this map. The three key areas over the last 2 years, I'll cover 2 years to include more activities, mainly focusing on the emergency WASH trainings in Tuvalu, Kiribati, PNG and Palau. And there was also emergency WASH hardware support to Fiji Red Cross, and also the development of local WASH IEC material. So looking at the training curriculum, a lot of these steps would be familiar to you all, but this is a standard structure for the training curriculum, starting with sphere standards and protection, gender and inclusion in emergencies. Also then going to the warehouses of the national societies and just becoming familiar with the non-food items WASH, which relate back to the sphere standards for hygiene promotion materials. We look at the F diagram, which really underpins most of our work in WASH, and then lead into hygiene promotion. We build some hand washing stations. We cover menstrual hygiene management. And then something quite important in the Pacific with the amount of cyclone activities and droughts that are experienced out here by the communities. We look at early warning, early action, linked with the climate centre and local Met officers, weather officers, because it's very important to respond to those events. And we go on to, very related to this is drinking water security. A lot of communities here depend on rainfall. So drinking water security is important. We look at household water treatment, and then the sanitation side, designing latrines and constructing them in the trainings, and then developing some drainage, looking at waste management, and then the opportunity to combine all of these topics with WASH assessments out in a local community. So that's the basic structure of the trainings across the different national societies in the Pacific. And I'll just look at some of the trainings with a few points on each. So in Papua New Guinea, here's a photo of a hand washing station, which is basically made out of a tin can, a tuna can. So it's very simple to make, and the participants made a number of hand washing stations. This is one of them. And at PNG, menstrual hygiene management was presented for the first time to the national societies, and there was a lot of interest from both male and female participants, and there was interest in volunteering and producing sanitary pads at branch level. In Kiribati training, we had the Climate Centre support Izara from Samoa Red Cross, who ran this training, and they were able to look at early warning, early action with the National Society. And here's a photo of them looking at some of the hazard information, such as cyclone warnings, and how the National Society can prepare for those events that are coming in. We actually have a Category 5 cyclone on its way to Fiji, so we'll be being affected by that in the next 6 hours, and then we'll be involved in the response and recovery. So cyclones are a big issue in the Pacific. Here we are in Tuvalu, and the team is constructing a universal access latrine. So it's a bigger area. So if someone has mobility issues, or if someone needs to change their clothes, there's more room to move inside. This is early stage of the construction. And another feature of Tuvalu training is that we used a form developed by UNICEF called the Drinking Water Safety and Security template. And that was a really easy to use template that the participants could use to assess household rainwater systems and look for any problems, and then plan the fixes. It might be to fix the guttering or to fix a leaking tap, for example. And while we're in Tuvalu, we also developed a standard operating procedure with the National Society looking at WASH, and that links in with the general disaster management response. In addition to the trainings, Fiji obtained some material support. There was they have a nomad water treatment system, so they were able to get that repaired, and also design and get this trailer constructed for their equipment so they can respond. So we're hopeful that they will be able to utilize this water treatment system in the response to Cyclone Yasa, which is on its way. They were also supplied with 5,000 litre plastic tanks, which they can move around as needed to go with this system. And now looking at IEC material, at the start of last year, we developed some posters for the Pacific. There were 3 different posters, and we used existing drawings developed for the Red Cross in the Pacific with key messages for hand washing. And as part of the trainings, we've had sessions to develop the posters in the local language and fit the local context. So here's an example from Tuvalu with the English version on the left and their local language on the right. And here are 2 more examples of the posters. The one on the left is drinking water safety and security, and down the bottom you might be familiar with some of these images from the household water treatment manual, and this was translated into Tok Pisin in Papua New Guinea. And on the right is an environmental health poster developed in Samoa, in Samoan language. Looking at some of the key challenges and constraints in the Pacific, very much related to the context. There's a low number of staff and volunteers with a WASH background, and there are very few actual WASH programs or resilience programs where the national societies can be involved with WASH programming. And when it came to the training, we found that some of the training, we ran out of time. We just didn't have enough time to complete the activities and give everyone a good opportunity to participate. But some of the positives from the trainings, 50 females and 47 males attended. And the outcomes were that there was increased awareness of WASH solutions and also around protection, gender and inclusion, including menstrual hygiene management. Some of the lessons learned, we know we need face-to-face training in the Pacific, and 5 days is ideal to have enough time to cover all of the material. And it's important for us to work with the Climate Centre to ensure that early warning, early action is integrated with WASH. We know that training in the Pacific should really focus on the basic WASH skills, and that way we can empower many volunteers and staff. And we also have to be respectful of water treatment units, because sometimes they present a risk for national societies due to their operational needs and their maintenance needs, and sometimes the systems aren't functioning here. So we have to be aware of that when we use water treatment facilities here. So we think it's more appropriate to focus on getting the basics right and getting that basic level. So I think that's all from me, and thank you very, very much for the opportunity.
Thanks a lot, Stuart, for joining us today, knowing that you are 4 hours from cyclone level 5. So let's move now to the question and reflection. So we received a few questions beforehand. So I have a first question that will be for Bangladesh, Cambodia, and Laos. So we start with you, Mr. Razak. So how do you foresee moving the emergency WASH portfolio forward, especially if there is no more funding coming from IFRC? Or maybe Mr. Khammouane, you want to answer first?
Yes, Mr. Vincent, thank you. I think it's a very good question, and also stick on my heart. I think for the if no Cambodia is no available that continue funding from the JRCS, I think Cambodian could be still more their own human resource that they are available, and then the Red Cross brand also have opportunity to provide with their use own fund raising at the brand level. I think this is the small scale that Cambodian Red Cross or at the province level they can contribute and maintain all the manpack or equipment that they get from the regional. I think it could be possible, but in case for the have opportunity, Cambodia Red Cross is still also needed from the JRC if they still have available to provide continue more. To sure we need to expand to other provinces that to build up the capacity of the Red Cross volunteer as well. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sokam. Mr. Razak?
Hello, Ludovic. On my question, just Bangladesh Red Kitchen Society is needed. Another more manpack kit just needed. Is 6 years or 8 or is not sufficient? Is 2 or 5 another kit is good. Flood situation is.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Mr. Razak. Dr. Bunma, are you able to answer the question. How do you foresee moving the emergency wash portfolio forward, especially if there is no more funding coming from IFRC? Oh, yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Please go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. That's a very good question, and I think very important, interesting for us. For our records, if no fund more from IFRC, normally our record we very needed to continue to support from IFRC, especially for the from different records to because we need more. We need more, extend more the capacity, especially for the manpack, if it's 100, or the other provincial where high risk for disaster, for flood coming soon, right? But however, if no more funding from IFRC, for our records we also have the plan. Like you know now, we hand over to manpack and the capacity women resort to the branches or province to respond. That's the one, and we try to push or plan together with them to how say it, to include or to request to the local government and include in the plan of the government. That means we try to push the Red Cross in the brand to push the provincial government include that budget or emergency budget for WASH to the provincial disaster management committee fund. I hope that in the future, 5 or 6 years in the future, we can like continue and can respond.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, Dr. Bonma. The next question is for Wendy. So Wendy, what were the difficulties in this round because of COVID-19?
Thanks, Ludovic, and apologies in advance if you miss a few points during my answering. As expected, the pandemic has limited or rather stopped all in-country support. So of course, at that time, when you are in country, it's easier in terms of communication and to get things done. But I think with almost all situations, we always try to find solutions to the issues at hand. So I've been fortunate in a way that I've worked with some of the WASH focal points of these national societies. So people like Sokan and Razak that I have worked for quite many years now. And we have laid a strong foundation of working together. So we know each other's working style. We have more constant discussions and catch-ups, which has been working well so far, although sometimes it's difficult to find, common times where we are all available. We are now more alert and we are now more ready to think of plan B or alternative plans. So that if, let's say, one thing goes wrong or is delayed, we sit down and we discuss and we find the best solution in order to move forward. So with so many uncertainties and all the challenges that we face from a day-to-day basis, we have to be flexible, we have to be adaptable, and to a certain extent, of course, without jeopardizing the quality of our work. Thanks, Roderick. Over.
Thanks a lot, Wendy. So we are reaching the end of the meeting. So apologize because we don't have much time to ask questions, but I think because of the time spent on the presentation, the explanation were very clear and easy to understand. I will give now the final word to John Fleming, the head of the health unit for APRO office. Over to you, John.
Thank you very much, Ludovic, and thank you very much, colleagues. I mean, Ludovic, Wendy, Jesse, of course, for the planning and the technical support to this really important event. It's been really fascinating, informative, and very thought-provoking, the presentations. So thanks to our 4 presenters, of course, to Wendy, but also to Razak from the Bangladesh Red Cross Society, to Mr. Khom Sokhan from the Cambodian Red Cross, of course to Buma from the Laos Red Cross, and also to Stuart in the Pacific. And of course, Stuart, we hope that the damage is minimal. In fact, we hope everything goes well for you and your team in the Pacific with this impending storm on its way. I'd also particularly, of course, like to note appreciation to the Japanese Red Cross. And I know we have 2 colleagues from the Japanese Red Cross in this meeting. So that's to Masako Kataoka and also to Masubi Yata, who are in attendance. We really appreciate your support, and particularly the long-term support the Japanese Red Cross has been able to provide. I wasn't aware that it actually went back so far, so to 2012. That's a real commitment, and it's very, very much appreciated. So we would wish that and ask you to convey our appreciation and thanks to your national society, to your HR colleagues for this generous and long-term support to emergency WASH programming in the Asia Pacific region. So I guess a couple of takeaways from my side, and we will be sharing the presentations and the recording, but I think start off is that strong donor support is vital, particularly this long-term and predictable support. Too often the support for programmings within the Red Cross, within the Federation, is spontaneous or short-term. So I think this has been one of the big takeaways for me, that the importance of a long-term commitment and a reliable and committed donor. So thanks again to the Japanese Red Cross. Another key takeaway for me is the importance of branch support. In many occasions, we tend to focus naturally on the headquarters and building up capacity at the headquarters. I think what's been innovative in this particular approach in emergency WASH has been the recognition that building capacity at the branch level is key, particularly for fast emergency response. So I think this is a really important message and a really important takeaway, and that branch volunteers are, of course, the most effective, as they will support their own communities in crisis, and are obviously very, very well connected with these communities. Talking of volunteers, the continuous support for human resources in terms of training is extremely important, and this has been well mentioned during the course of the presentations. Gender came up in all of the presentations right from the start, and I think this gender approach has improved over time, and it's most certainly a really big focus of the Federation of National Societies and indeed the humanitarian community, the importance of seeing our programs and planning our programs and implementing our programs through the gender lens and having this gender sensitivity. Colleagues mentioned PGI, protection, gender and inclusion in emergencies, and also, of course, it's very well recognized, particularly in the last few years, the emphasis on menstrual hygiene management and other activities, which are bringing us really important lessons, but also improving our services from a gender point of view. So I think this is really important, not just from the recipients, as it were, but also improving involvement and facilitating involvement of female volunteers and staff, including, of course, staff in positions of leadership. We also mentioned COVID-19. It would be impossible to have any type of meeting at this time of the year, particularly the year we've just had, without making reference to the pandemic. WASH and WASH services have really gained increasing relevance and importance in the pandemic. We've got 11 particular targets within the health and WASH program in the appeal, the COVID appeal, and WASH accounts for at least 4 of them, including, of course, the provision of hand washing facilities and also serving health facilities, infection prevention and control and such like. So if WASH wasn't appreciated, I'm not saying it was, but in the event that it wasn't fully appreciated before 2020, there can be no doubt now as to the importance of water sanitation and hygiene promotion in regards to COVID and also in regards to other pandemics, both in the homes and also at the community level. So what needs to be done? This has also been referenced, but certainly expanding emergency WASH. We're in the most disaster-prone region of the world. So clearly an objective of APRO is to increase the number of WASH-ready national societies. And we did a very quick survey of national societies before we started our planning for 2021-2025. And the vast majority of national societies expressed an interest in improving their capacity around WASH, both from a developmental point of view, but particularly WASH in emergency. So establishing, maintaining a really strong and robust regional network of emergency WASH experts is really, really important. And then working in teams, and also in the sense of working in tandem with national societies, cross-cutting issues. We talked about climate change as well. We're working very, very closely this year with the Climate Centre. We're actually carrying out 5+3 country-level assessments on climate change and health, including WASH, but also including livelihood. So very much across themes and across disciplines. So we'll be able to explain more about that in the coming year. So this is one of the flagship programs that we have, and definitely, even within the context of COVID, we have a real emphasis on climate change, and it's a priority going forward. And then we're also looking at digitalization, which is another key area, and a commitment on the part of the Federation and the ICRC and national societies coming out of the conference of last year, the international conference. So we're looking to see how we can improve support to national societies using a digitalized approach, and also improving profile and positioning of national societies. So again, thank you all so much. Again, since 2012, the Japanese Red Cross, as we heard earlier, has contributed nearly 2 million Swiss francs. Again, thank you so much. And also we look forward to continuing this relationship going forward and working on improving our WASH capacity, emergency WASH capacity, including looking to build up our HR capacity in APRO with full-time national emergency WASH officers we're hoping for, because this support will be cornerstone for furthering the capacity in the region. So we're looking and hoping for more funding, for more investment, because we really do recognize, and it's recognized from the top echelons of the Federation, the importance of WASH. So thank you all very, very much for the wonderful presentations and for the questions and the answers. And I guess it's just left to me to now wish you all a happy end of year, hopefully a disaster-free end of year. And I look forward to working and engaging with you all in 2021. So thank you all very, very much indeed for your active engagement over the years, your support, your commitment, and wishing you all a very happy end of year and 2021. Thank you all so much from my side. Thank you, Ludovic. Back to you.
Thank you, John. So I will leave the final word to you. So that's all for today. Thanks a lot for the presenter and all attendees today. We will send after this meeting, most probably beginning of next week, the follow-up with all the document mentioned during the presentation and the presentation as well. And also we will share with you a quick survey to see if this kind of format was good and how we can improve, and if it's something we need to continue for 2021. So I wish you as well, to all of you, and good end of the year celebration. over and out. Bye-bye.